Welcome to the video. Today we are going to discuss about structured programming. Before discussing about the structured programming, we should understand the importance of the structured programming. The structured programming is mainly used to write a program in a proper format. The advantage of writing a program in a proper format is to make the programmers easy to write the programs, easy to understand the program, easy to update the program. That is the main intention of this structured program. So the first point is we subdivide the whole program into small modules. A program may the number of lines in a program may have maybe 1000 or 2000. That may increase based on the necessity of the program. So you can't estimate that the program length will be like this, like that. Okay, it's based on the main motto of the program. The number of lines may get increased. So in the case of a structured programming, what we are doing is we are subdividing the whole program into small modules, or dividing the programs into small modules, so that we can easily modify, or we can easily identify where this functionality of this program resides. Okay, that particular block of code. So we are dividing the programs into small blocks, and we are naming with a meaningful name that this part of the program executes this one. Okay, so that is the first one. Second one, the purpose of the structured programming is to linearize the control flow through a computer program, so that the execution sequence follows the sequence in which the code is written. The second important thing is the program should have a sequence of control flow should be in a sequence. So every programming languages there will be a syntax to indicate to the compiler that this program should execute from here, or this program should execute from this part of this statement. Likewise, every programming languages there will be a indication to the compiler that this part of the program should execute from this part of this point. So what's the intention of this one is we should ensure that the program should execute in a sequential order, so that there should be a control available in the programmer to manipulate the program in the desired way. That is the main intention of this second point. So execution sequence follows the sequence in which the code is written. So we all know that this program will execute in this particular order, so that we can make the modifications, we can update the program based on that sequence of execution. The third one is, by doing these two part of the structured programming, the main intention of this structured programming is to make the programmers easy to write the program, read the program, test the program, modify the program. That is the main thing, to enhance the readability, to enhance the testability, and to modifiability in the sense, we all know that readability in the sense, here we have to understand that in the industry, in the software development industry, so actually we are studying these programming concepts to make ourselves a software developer. Okay, that is the main intention of this subject. So software developer should be aware about the recent trends, recent processing happened in the industry. Regularly in industry, what is happening there is, initially the program may be developed by one person, and the updation may be developed by another person. There may not be any contact, or there may not be any communication between these two persons, because the initial programmer may develop in 2005 and the updation may happen in 2021. You can't ensure that the person who developed the program may be available in 2021 in the same company itself. So because people may change, the person who developed the program may change. So what happening is, if we are writing the program in a module wise, so the person who is developing the program is writing the program in module wise, then the person who is trying to update the program or correcting the program can easily understand that this part of the program means this functionality, this part of the program executes or completes this part of this functionality. Likewise, so readability is there, then testability. So if the readability works perfectly, then you can easily test the program because you understand what is happening there. And if both the cases are okay, then you can easily modify the program because you are familiar with all the concept that is discussed in the program. The languages that support the structured programming approach is C, C++, Java and C#. The rules of the structured programming, the first one is code block. The block of code, that is the first rule. I already told you that we are dividing the programs into modules. So each module is considered as a block of code. So every programs are divided into sub-programs, and that programs are considered as a block of code. So, and each block of code should have one entry point and one exit point. Okay. So I am discussing only minimal here because you may not understand this concept before discussing the program. So while discussing the program, we will discuss this matter elaborately. Right now, I am discussing with a minimal point. Okay, a box with a single entry point and a single exit points are structured. So a block of code should have one entry point and one exit point. Very simple. Then the second one is a sequence. The sequence of execution. The whole series can be regarded as a single block with an entry point and an exit point. So that entry point and exit point should be in a sequence. Then only the program works. The third rule is alternation. So alternation in the sense program may have two directions. Which part of the program execute next? There is a confusion. At that time, we are using a decision making statement there to finalize which part of the program should execute next. That is in the sequence. If we are writing the program in a sequential order, at that time there may be a confusion that which part of the program execute next, whether the first part or the second part. At that time, what we will do is we will use a decision making statement like if then else. So here in this diagram, we are saying that this is a decision making statement part. So up to this a sequence is there. Here there is a confusion that which part of the program is executed next, whether the right part or the left part. So in this case, we are deciding with a condition to verify whether the condition is true. If the condition is true, this is a true part and the true part will execute. If this condition is false, this is the false part and this part of the program will execute. Each choice, we are dividing this part of the program into two based on the requirements, and the left part is considered as a block of code and the right part is considered as a block of code. And again, each block of code should have one entry point and one exit point. If the entry condition is satisfied, because if the condition is true, then we are passing an input to this particular block of code. That is important thing. That is that we will discuss in future classes. Then at the time you will understand what I am saying now. Here, if we are passing the value from this decision making statement to this true block, there is an input. We are passing an input here. So this input should be fulfilled as a input condition. And if this condition is fulfilled, then only this block of code will execute correctly. Otherwise, it will give you a wrong result. That is the meaning of this statement. If the entry condition is fulfilled and the conditions are fulfilled, then the exit conditions are satisfied. The fourth rule is iteration. So what's the meaning of this iteration? Iteration in the sense, so up to this point, we have a sequence and one input is processing here with a decision making statement. If the decision making statement says that this condition is true, then it goes to the block of code and completes the process, and it produces another input. It produces an output, and that output is considered as an input again for this decision making statement. In this decision making statement, verifying that whether the condition is true. If this condition is true, it again goes to the block of code, executes the block of code, and it produces a result, and that is considered as a input for the next process. So that is said to be the iteration. For example, if you want to calculate the sum of n numbers, for example, sum of first 10 numbers, the first value is 0, second value is 1, third value is 2, fourth value is 3, likewise. So at that time we should have a condition that the value should be less than 10, then only it should be it should be processed. Otherwise you have to exit from the block of code. So that is condition. So first value is 0, 0 is less than 10, it will be processed. Next value is 1, 1 is less than 10, it will be processed. Next value is 2, 2 is less than 10, it will be processed. Likewise, up to 10, this part of the program will execute. This statement is true. Once it reaches 11, the condition 11 is less than 10, condition false. So at that time, it exits the program. So that is a concept of iteration. It also has one entry point and one exit point. The entry point has condition that must be satisfied, and the exit point has requirements that must be fulfilled. So there is no jumps into the form from external points of the code. So there should not be any interference from any external code, because we are dividing the programs into block of codes, and this part of the block should not accept any input from another block of code, because we have a structure, a rule is there, a sequence is there, and that sequence should be followed. Then only the program will execute. Next one is nested structures. A structure of any size that has single entry point and a single exit point is equivalent to the code of block. In this case, in this diagram, the first part saying that a block of code is there and produces an output. Here we discussed about iteration. One condition is there, a block of code is there, and until the condition gets false, this block of code is executing. Once the condition is false, it get out of the code. And the third one, this is a nested structure. In this case, inside one condition there are multiple conditions. Inside one condition there are multiple conditions. If the initial condition gets false, it get out of the program. If the initial condition is true, it get into the program. And again, we are dividing the program into two blocks. That is important thing. So that is nested structure. So a nested structure in the sense we are dividing the program from one block of code to another block of code. So multiple decision making process is happening inside a block of code. That is said to be nested structure. Okay. Advantages of structured programming is, first one is easier to read and understand for the programmer. Again, I am saying that this structured approach is mainly for the programmers, not for the end users. So who are end users? In the case of a Facebook application, the end users are the people who are using the Facebook application. The end users are the mobile users who are using the Facebook app. Programmers are the people who are developing the Facebook app, who are writing the program to develop the Facebook app. So that is the difference. So the advantages of a structured programming is easier to read and understand by the programmers, not the users. Second one is user friendly. Again, this user friendly in the sense this user is a programmer. In the case there is end users are not coming to the picture. We are discussing about the programmers user friendly. Programmer is one of the user right now. In this case, easier to maintain in the sense for future updations or future modifications. We can easily maintain a structure so that the person who are modifying the program can easily understand that where to modify. That is important. Where to modify. The fourth one, mainly problem based instead of being machine based. We are developing the program based on the problems that received from the customer. We are developing the program to produce a solution for the customers. So mainly problem based instead of being machine based. Machine based in the sense it is dependent to the machine. Okay, based on the machine it gets executed. Fifth one, development is easier as it requires less effort and time. Development is easier for the programmer. That is another thing. Easier to debug. It's easier for the program to correct the errors. Debug in the sense error correction. Easier to debug. Seventh one, machine independent. It is not program is not machine dependent. It is machine independent. You can write portability that we discussed in the last class about the program. High level programming languages are machine independent. Disadvantage is since it's machine independent, it takes time to convert into machine code. That is a normal thing. Converted machine code is not same as for assembly language. So the machine code depends on the machines. Machine code depends on the machine. So the assembly language used in that used to convert the machine code is different. That is the thing that telling here. The program depends upon changeable factors like data types. So the data types may differ. So based on that, the programmer should be conscious that this data type should be used. This data type should not be used here. Likewise, so we will discuss those difference in data types will be discussed in the future classes. Therefore, it needs to be updated with the need on the go. And usually, the development in this approach takes longer time as it is language dependent. Whereas in the case of assembly language, the development takes lesser time as it is fixed for the machine. It is fixed for the machine at the time of developing the machine itself. They are developing the code for assembly language. But in language dependent, in the sense in higher level language, it takes time because we are writing the program for a big problem. We are writing a program for a big problem and we are trying to develop a solution for that. So it takes time, and it's language dependent. Not the syntax of first language for C language is different than that of C++, and again it is both the syntax is different for Java. So likewise, it is language dependent. So it takes time based on the language. So this is a concept in structured programming. Thank you for watching the video. We will discuss the next concept in the next lecture. Okay.